It's time for Lefties Losing It, and the celebrity class continue to make ass clowns of themselves. It really is an epidemic, and Martin Sheen seems extra keen to elevate himself to the top of the pile with this asinine contribution.
So the big guy in the White House, if he would take some personal advice, you've got to realize, sir, that you are the biggest nothing in the world. And sir, you stop there. You stop listening to all these people around you, these sycophants.
Sycophant, Martin? You mean like this loopy lady beside you, MSNBC anchor Nicole Wallace, be clowning herself, laughing along to your sad little attack? You know, it's clear listening to this rant from Martin Sheen that he should never, ever speak in public without the aid of scriptwriters. He was quite erudite when he was playing the US president in the West Wing, but left to his own devices and meagre brain power, he comes out with this.
Who are encouraging you to be your non-human self. Get in touch with that humanity. Stop fussing with your hair. And don't worry about your tie. And stand up straight and speak clearly, not from your throat. Speak from your heart. And start being human. That's what you were made for, not golf. So there you are, Mr. President, with all due respect, sir.
Listen to Nicole Wallace cackle like some deranged witch there. So Trump is not human and he should stop playing golf. Profound words there from Martin Sheen. No wonder the MSNBC anchor was beside herself with excitement. I mean, imagine how fringe-dwelling left you have become when TDS sufferer Charlemagne is calling you out.
I'll never forget when MSNBC did that to me. MSNBC said I was repeating MAGA messaging. I was like, damn, that means that y'all really are not paying attention to your constituents.
Now to another once great of Hollywood who has shown himself to be a seriously unwell individual in need of some professional help. Here is Robert De Niro losing the plot again and calling a proud Jewish man a Nazi, among other things.
He will not. We see it all the time. He will not want to leave. He set it up with his. I guess he's the Goebbels of the cabinet. Stephen Miller. He's a Nazi. Yes, he is, and he's Jewish, and he should be ashamed of himself.
The only one who should be ashamed of himself is you, Robert De Niro, but you are so utterly broken and bitter and so full of hate and bile that you have lost sight of just how deranged you have become. It really is rather sad. Talking about sad, let's check in with actress and alleged comedian Margaret Cho, who had this to say about best-selling author J.K. Rowling.
Shut up, J.K. Rowling. Shut up. You're a joke. That's why your name is J.K., because you are a joke. Your anti-trans rhetoric makes me sick. You are despicable. I hope that when you face menopause, you have to take a lot of gender-affirming care, as I do. And when you're taking these hormones, they make your pubes grow out so thick and hard, it's like steel wool.
Gosh, where does one start there? I think you should keep details of your private issues to yourself, Margaret. Don't think that is a widespread problem. And J.K. Rowling is 60 years old. She probably has already gone through menopause. And good of you to mention menopause. You know who doesn't go through that? Men pretending to be women, because they're still men. Now, just when you think the leftist mainstream media cannot sink any lower, along comes MSNBC. Listen to this vile, vile woman claim that J.D. Vance doesn't really love or protect his own family, his own wife and children.
He is married to a woman of Indian descent.
Yes.
He has mixed race children.
Yes.
So to all of the MAGA voters out there, if this man will not defend his wife and will not defend his kids, do you think he gives a crap about you or anything to do with you?
That was the contemptible Jennifer Welch on the lunatic asylum masquerading as a news network, MSNBC. And Welch, what an awful name that is. Well, she had more to say about race. Listen to this diatribe.
I'm a white woman that has lived in a red state my entire life. And I can tell you, when I'm around white people, they test the racist water. They test it on people like you all. all the time, and they'll try to say off-color things. I put my hand up. It absolutely happens, and you're fortunate that maybe you haven't experienced this.
And it's time for a CNN trigger warning, because they again had some sobering news for their permanently outraged audience. The Schumer shutdown is not hurting Donald Trump. Take it away, Harry.
In 2018/2019, Donald Trump's net approval rating was already falling. The shutdown was eating into his popular support. It was down 3 points already at this particular point and would fall considerably more. It was very much on the decline. You come over to this side of the screen, this shutdown hasn't eaten into Donald Trump's support at all. His net approval rating is actually up a point in terms of his popular support. So the bottom line is this: the first shutdown during Trump's first term, 2018-2019, was hurting Donald Trump. This one is not hurting him at all.
No, the shutdown is not hurting the president in the polls, and that's because most people don't blame him for the shutdown, despite the best efforts of the media.
Blame Trump for the shutdown a great deal. In 2018/2019, 61%, more than 3 in 5 Americans, blame Trump a great deal for that particular shutdown. You come over to this side of the screen, look at this. It's a different world. It's a different world. 48% of Americans blame Trump a great deal for this particular shutdown. So it's more than 3 in 5 back in 2018/2019. It's less than half, a drop of 13 points. Again, it's no real wonder that Donald Trump, at this point, looking at the shutdown, says, you know what, it's not actually harming me politically, in large part because he's getting less of the blame.
Let's bring in political advisor and commentator CJ Pearson. CJ, the shutdown in term 2 is being seen differently by voters, but then again, so much of this second term is dramatically different to what we saw in term 1.
You know, you're exactly right. And the American people are seeing through the BS the Democrats are spewing. They know that Chuck Schumer and his colleagues own this shutdown. They know that the reason that our military service members are not getting paid is because of Chuck Schumer and the Democrat Party being held hostage by the progressive left wing. President Trump has done everything he can do to reopen this government. There have been vote after vote in the United States Senate to reopen this government, to fully fund its programs, to fully fund the men and women who work in our federal government, many of them public servants, and the Democrats have stood in the way of that. So no, the American people are smarter than the Democrats believe them to be, and they know that this is a Democrat shutdown, and President Trump has nothing to do with it.
Now, on Monday, I played footage of this hideous woman mocking Charlie Kirk's murder. This happened at a No Kings protest, just a vile, vile piece of work. And sadly, CJ, she is a teacher. Those early reports were accurate. That thing is teaching young children. That's Lucy Martinez, teacher at Nathan Hale Elementary School. CJ, elementary school. You know, and the sad thing is, and Jesse Kelly's talked about this, as soon as I saw that footage, I thought, I bet you that's a teacher. And it's sad that I think that, but it's just happened too many times. Whenever I see footage like this of someone behaving in some reprehensible manner, you think, is it a public servant or a teacher? Too often, it's precisely that.
You're right. It's disgusting and vile and a truly alarming pattern. Like, these are the people that are, leading the future generation of leaders here in America. And imagine if this is what she's able to do in public. Imagine what she's doing in the privacy of a classroom. It's truly, truly alarming. And I hope that the school district takes immediate action to terminate her employment. And that's not cancel culture. That's called consequence culture. And free speech is free in America, but you are not free from the consequences of those actions. And that, is just beyond the pale. It's unbelievable to see. But I think that this entire episode following the death of Charlie Kirk has exposed a very, very real problem that we've already talked about a lot, actually, in higher education. But now we see clear-eyed, and we can no longer ignore. There is a deep, deep sickness in higher education in this country, but also, too, in the teaching colleges and the teacher schools that are actually, giving, these teachers their educations. And so I'm not surprised. I am disgusted, but surprised? Not at all.
And what did you make of the No Kings protest across the country? Huge numbers took part. Do you think they have any impact in convincing undecided voters or independent voters, or is it the rusted-on Democrats, TDS sufferers who've taken to the streets again?
Rita, I'm old enough to remember when, those on the left would accuse me of being a member of the party of old white guys. But it seems as if there must be some role reversal here these days, because all I saw at these protests were elderly white people who were probably out in the streets living out their hippie days just a few decades ago. And so it seems to be the case that a lot of young people are starting to see through the BS of the left. They're coming over to our side. A lot of black people are, obviously seeing through the BS of the left. They're coming to our side. And this is the best they have. A lot of delusional people who are just shouting at the sky and are saying, get off my lawn. But no one's actually paying them any mind, because you want to know the deal here. And it's actually really interesting to me. If you can protest and engage in a no kings rally, you don't have a king. It is not rocket science. Try doing that in North Korea. Try doing it in Cuba and see what happens. These people are so delusional, and they need to be medicated. They need to be medicated. I hate giving Big Pharma money, but these people, they need to be medicated.
I think we need to make asylums great again. Reopen the asylums. In fact, reopen all of them. Now, this week, our Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, finally got a face-to-face meeting with the President, and that meant Americans were treated to members of the Australian media. Here are a couple of examples.
Where do you come from?
I'm from Australia.
Who are you with?
The Sydney Morning Herald.
Nasty guy. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'm just trying to ask a question.
Go ahead.
And here is the second example. This cringeworthy question had social media ablaze.
You have within your power, you're the most powerful man on earth. Why don't you just enable Ukraine to finish this war tomorrow?
Well, if you knew anything about what you were talking about, you'd be able. You do. I don't think you do. Really, I don't think you do, because it's a little more complicated than that. But it sounds easy. We're in the process of trying to make a deal. If we make a deal, that's great. If we don't make a deal, it'll be a lot of people are going to be paying a big price.
Oh dear, such a rude, embarrassingly ignorant question, if you can call it that. CJ, what did you make of it?
Well, the first thing I made of it is that we needed you in that press conference actually to ask some real questions that people actually give a damn about. And maybe you could teach your colleagues a little, thing or two about foreign policy. President Trump has an incredible record to stand on when it comes to leadership on the world stage. Look at just what happened just a few weeks ago as it relates to Palestine and Israel conflict. This is a man who has made himself the president of peace and will continue to pursue that all across the world. Vladimir Putin respects him, and if he doesn't respect him, he certainly fears him. And Zelensky knows that at the end of the day, that President Trump is who he actually needs to deal with. And I think that he is working hard to stay in the president's good graces. He even showed up to the White House in a suit this past week. And I think that's an indication that he realizes just how important his relationship with President Trump is going to be. And so, the media can do what they do and commentate and, do whatever they will, but President Trump will continue to lead from the front, not from the back. This is no longer the Biden White House. This is the Trump White House. This is the deal maker. This is a peace seeker, and that's exactly what we will get.
Now, we had this memorable moment when Sky News' Andrew Cornell made the president aware of some of Kevin Rudd's comments about him over the years.
Even things the ambassador said about you in the past, the Australian ambassador?
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about me? Don't tell me. I don't know. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and I probably never will. Go ahead.
Oh, dear. What I loved most about that was the current Australian Prime Minister just sitting there laughing at his own ambassador being humiliated. That was the President's exchange with former Australian PM and the current ambassador, Kevin Rudd. What did Americans make of that?
I think it would affirm the fact that you know exactly where you stand with this president at any given time. He doesn't mince words. And so I don't know if the Australians are smart, maybe they'll get rid of this ambassador pretty soon. It sounds like he may be on his way out. The prime minister didn't seem too eager to defend him in that room yesterday. So I guess we'll see. Maybe this story is still developing.
Yes, yes, we think it may be, though the Prime Minister has today come out and expressed his support for his ambassador again. Now, CJ, the two allies did sign an agreement to develop supplies of rare earths and critical minerals. This is going to be combating China's dominance of that market, and Beijing is not too happy about that. China is the world's leading producer of rare earths, and it's in a trade war with the US right now, CJ.
You know, it is, but I think this underscores, again, President Trump's commitment to America first leadership all throughout the world. And so, you know, we're not here to placate China. We're not here to play, second fiddle to them. We're going to continue to lead from the front. And again, I understand why this is so, I guess, discombobulating to the Chinese, because they dealt with folks like Joe Biden for 4 long, long years. But there is a new sheriff in town, and President Trump has made that clear. And he's willing to work with, our global partners all throughout the world to achieve exactly what he ran on and what the American people gave him a mandate to achieve in this past year's election.
Now, sticking with trade and tariffs and the efforts of the Trump administration to bring manufacturing back to the US, let's hear from Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang.
This last week was a historic week. We manufactured the most advanced AI chips in the world, in the most advanced fab in the world, here in America for the first time. All of this started with President Trump wanting to reindustrialize the United States. His tariffs was a pressing agent in making this possible at the speed that we're doing. And now, shortly after less than a year, we're now manufacturing the most advanced chips for AI here in the United States.
What other impacts are you seeing from these tariffs? Has it seen inflation jump up dramatically? Have we seen some of the consequences the so-called experts told us was going to happen almost immediately?
No, we haven't seen that. But what we have seen is the experts, again, as you just pointed out, be disproven yet again. I don't know why we continue to call these people experts anymore. I think we need to come up with a new word for them. I'm inclined to use the word liar, but, I like to be polite. I'll tell you what we are seeing as a result of President Trump's bold economic policy. We're seeing record job creation. We're seeing incredible investments, not just domestically from American companies, but international countries saying, I want to bet on America because America is in good hands under this president. And of course, you hear from incredible business leaders like the CEO of Nvidia and many others who are lauding President Trump for his leadership on this front. And so, while the writers of, random publications and in the media who are betting on President Trump's failure, I actually want to remind them of a quote from President Obama: to root for the failure of a president is to root for the country's failure. And so maybe they would be wise to, I don't know, just hope that President Trump knows what he's doing, because if history is any judge of what lies ahead, I'm pretty confident in his ability to deliver for the American people in the future and for many years to come.
Well, I hope you're right. And let's end on some good news. The woke and woeful Cincinnati police chief, Terry Thigi, has been placed on administrative leave, and there's going to be an internal investigation on the effectiveness of her leadership in the Cincinnati Police Department. She, of course, came to national prominence after a number of white people were bashed in what is alleged to be race-based hate crimes, essentially. The footage was absolutely shocking, and yet the police chief had this to say about it.
Social media and journalism and the role it plays in this incident. And yes, guys, that's you. That is you. Social media, the post that we've seen, does not depict the entire incident.
Talk about shooting the messenger, CJ. She seemed to be more upset about these clips going viral and some attention being brought to these horrendous crimes, acts of violence, than the fact that they actually happened. And you had mobs of people attacking a couple of victims who were left with serious injuries.
Yeah, exactly that. She's asking us to just completely ignore what we all just saw with our own 2 eyes. It's actually insane to even think about. But this is exactly why President Trump and so many people on the right have gone after DEI. These people don't know how to lead. They did not earn it. That is actually what DEI should stand for. But beyond that, it's exactly why President Trump has sent the National Guard in many American cities, because what I just saw in that video looks like a third world country. That has no business happening in the United States of America. And if folks like like this police chief won't stand up and lead, then President Trump will intervene. And I got to tell you, the people of Cincinnati will welcome it. And I believe the governor, the Republican governor of Ohio, would also welcome it, because people want to feel safe. They want to be safe in their communities. That's not something far-fetched to ask for, not something crazy to demand. It's an expectation, and it's a very reasonable one.
CJ Pearson, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you.